Damn it.
I've not heard of that before.
I had it in my head and then I lost it.
What episode?
What's the show with the two guys who are in the band?
Beavis and Butthead?
No.
Bill and Ted?
Are they Australian? They're Australian? No. Right.
Flight of the Conchords.
Flight of the Conchords.
They're in New Zealand.
Welcome to Game of Nodes, a weekly podcast on the cosmos from independent validator teams.
Hello and welcome to Game of Nodes, a weekly podcast on the cosmos from independent validators soon to be acquired and swallowed up by Binance until they see our balance sheets and immediately withdraw from the deal, rendering us insolvent and sending us to the poorhouse. Hopefully everybody out there is doing okay. It has been a week and the week is continuing. We're already on Wednesday. Sam Bankman-Fried has lost 1.4
14.6.
No.
How many?
Oh, yeah.
How many billions has he lost in the last 36 hours?
Greater than 1.
1.6? Is that what we're saying?
$14.6 billion worth of magic internet money.
Wellity. So if you think you've had a bad week, well, you've probably had a worse week than him because he's still got 900 million. So
today,
which he might not have tomorrow. So
correct.
We'll check back. We'll have a special podcast on Friday. We'll track what is going on. So this week,
yeah.
So what's happening in the cosmos is that the cosmos is getting rugged by a Ponzi called the rest of the market. And I know we don't normally do price chat, but
why start now?
I mean,
why do we start price chat on this week?
We don't normally do price chat, but we decided to start when the market is possibly its most depressing. I reckon. Yeah. I think I just looked at Juno and Stargaze. Stargaze surprisingly has sort of seemed okay. I mean, in the sense it's not a super high value token anyway.
It's down the least amount this week of everything that I'm tracking.
That was my glass half full.
Yep.
Takeaway from that. And then Juno's about 20 cents off all-time low, and a lot of the other Cosmos tokens are also taking a kick in, which is good.
Osmosis is above $1 at least.
To be fair,
pretty close. Yeah, to be fair.
We sold almost all of our Osmosis, so that was once again good financial decisions being made all the time by your local friendly neighborhood validators. Osmosis, fair play. How's Atom doing? Just throw some spice in there.
Nobody wants to answer. Oh, here comes Schulte.
I mean, I think that it's doing pretty okay from what I can tell. I know that there was some more drama today because Jack and Jacob had an Atom 2.0 meeting. And then I guess what happened was Jack was the leader of the meeting. And like midway through, he decided he was out. And so he just canceled the meeting. And so everyone was all like, what friggin' happened? What happened? Meeting's over. Okay. But I don't really know.
Okay, fair enough. So was this planning, implementation, and
I think it's more of a debate on merits. I'm only hearing it secondhand from what other people are talking about.
That is. Atom, I would say my review of the last sort of couple of days would be not all sunshine and roses, but not as bad as it could be. So
it's down about on average for most of the Cosmos. I think it's down 21% this week.
A third, yeah. That's same as Juno's down a third, almost exactly.
Yeah. Fucking Solana just getting brutally crushed. That's all FTX related. Do you know why Solana is specifically getting targeted here? Is FTX held a ton or something like that? They were worried about liquidating or something.
Solana incubated by FTX.
Yeah.
Was it?
There's some close relationship there. Yeah.
It's Alameda Whatever the fuck
Almeida.
Act. Almeida.
Almeida. No,
That might be my favorite one yet.
It's Alameda Research or whatever the hell they're called. Are like massive investors in Solana and also FTX, and have a lot of cross loan bullshit going on. And I think, have been pretty affected by this. Like that Freed guy, I think, is involved with Alameda Research.
Yeah, FTX. I think that's FTX's venture / whatever arm, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like massively invested in Solana, and because they're like gone, I think that's affected their ability to pay their loans or whatever.
Yeah, that will happen. This is, I mean, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Because you're just like, it's the obvious. It's like the absolute most obvious point of failure that everybody talks about, which is that until there's like a way of paying for stuff in a lower risk, higher liquidity token in the real world, you always have to offboard into fiat, and it happens through like one of 4 places,
Right.
and now one of them's hit the buffers, and that's it turns out centralization is bad, but it turns out centralization is not having arguments about the validator set. It's about everybody offboarding their fiat in the same place
At the same time.
at the same time.
Occasionally.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like that thing where people ran to a physical location to get their money, and it had a name, and there was like a precedent.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that.
Yeah, there was something.
Oh, a car race?
Stock cars, demolition derby. Yeah, I think demolition derby is probably a better metaphor for what we're doing today in the market.
Is there any better news happening? We could talk about something else, like a car crash or airplane going down or something. Is there anything else that you have?
I mean, Hetzner seems a bit silly for closing down Solnodes a week ago.
Right.
That was one of the first things I thought about. Why was Hetzner such a shit chain?
Yeah.
Right? It's like the 1-2 hit combo against Solana right now.
I don't even know. I mean, it's at Solana at $13, right? It's down 55% this week already. And the high was like 180, 190, right? Something like that. I mean, I know Solana is expensive to run too. There's got to be a lot of underwater validators in that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Hey, Regen. Not so bad.
Oh man,
that is a depressing chart.
Yeah, don't look at. Yeah, this is awful.
Hey, Lightstream. Who knows what Lightstream is?
Oh,
validate that?
Absolutely no
Oh
idea.
my goodness.
So I took a walk around the block, if you like, and thought about our decisions.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized that actually, like, this market crash is now kind of underway, which is like I wonder if there's a real bear coming. I do wonder if, I think like the real bear is about to set in. And we've just been cosplaying the bear market so far, I think. But hey, the thing is, I took a walk around the block, and this doesn't sound glass half full, but it is. Bear with me. I realize that if you're going to survive the bear market that is about to descend, you've already done the things that you need to do to survive it. And if you're not going to survive it, you've already made the mistakes. I mean, you're not going to survive it. So actually, at this point, it's just, you can be as calm as like a cow in a kind of Buddhist morality parable, because it doesn't matter. Like you are part. Your path is laid. Like you just gotta walk to the end of the field, and it might be a fucking abattoir on the other end. And YOLO basically would be my conclusion. So actually, I found that thought quite relaxing.
You did. It sounds like you're about to walk into traffic. And on that note.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is kind of
Step
alright.
into the street.
Maybe go for a bike ride or something. Not worry too much about
In the end, fuck it.
second page
Right.
of duty.
Exactly. So what's that? So at this, I think the next thing to follow will be some of these like a liquid staking pool, right? That'll be something like that will fail, and some of those types of things will happen where
it'll be on a larger chain though, probably, like one of those big, I mean, it's that kind of like, I mean, obviously it's not like something you're super jazzed about to see, whereas when you're kind of in this like as a business entity, like for us, we put our hiring on hold and all this sort of stuff, but you are also just like morbidly fascinated by it, I certainly am. Like it, because it is like, I'm not really a computer scientist. I'm if anything, probably a historian of economics or whatever. And like, it's just like, oh, this is like a really accelerated, really extreme version of something you just read about all the time. And you see, we saw in 2008, we saw in the .com boom. I can remember about that when that happened, although didn't study it till later.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's like fascinating the mechanics of how it works, like, and how it kind of repeats itself as well. But like how, I don't know, you would kind of think that they would get sort of like the crashes and things would converge toward a stability, but it feels like they're getting more and more extreme instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it gets more and more extreme because as we go along, we like find more and more ways to leverage positions against certain things. Then when that certain thing runs out of steam, it just all falls apart. It's going to be perpetual boom bust for as long as humans exist, because whilst ever someone can make something look good and profit off everyone else until it is exhausted, and then everything comes falling down, it'll keep happening.
Yeah, so what you're saying is, like Agent Smith in the Matrix, you believe that humans are like a virus.
Yeah.
Like basically.
No, that's
only
not
human.
That's not what we're concluding. But no, but like, do you not think there is like it can't be that you create ever greater infinite leverage and make every crash worse? Because that, well, I mean, okay, so the nature of infinity is that, yes, it could get infinitely worse, but it doesn't seem like society could take that, right?
No. Well, number one, what won't take it is government and government agencies will. So this will, from a regulation perspective, you have, like, friend of the show Artifact pointed this out on Discord a couple minutes ago. We had this year with Terra, we had Celsius, you have Three Arrows Capital, you have Voyager, and now you have FTX explosion, all within what, 12 months, maybe not even 9 months. So with the amount of loss and bad decision making and everything else, at some point people start to get tired of that shit. And even though it is a DYOR type of ecosystem, at some point that ends up stopping, especially when you have stable coins involved and you have people having things, or they're losing money at within an exchange. So I think that's what will change.
I mean,
some of the stuff you're going to get.
I think we need to take a bit of a step back, though. This isn't just the crypto market that's kind of having trouble right now, right? Election day in the US was yesterday. So S&P 500 is down 2+%. Yeah, over 2%,
Mm-hmm.
which of course will affect crypto as well. And so, like, people are having issues with, volatility of crypto, but crypto's still following the market in general. Now, granted, yesterday was a bit more.
I mean, Solana's down 50% in 24 hours. Like, again, these are not securities and investments, right? Like, that's not what they are. So I'm not saying it needs to follow that piece, but at some point, especially with something like FTX that is running a venture capital arm that has most of its assets based on a token that it made, right? So basically you're building a valuation, you're lending money off of a token that you invented. That piece I can see.
Are you saying
that piece I could see having some regulation? That piece I could see having some regulation involved, right?
Well, I mean, is that so far different from securities, though? because that's all shares are, right?
No, they're not.
Create
They're not
magic
putting
paper money.
They're not putting.
Yeah, I don't know about.
No, they're not. They're
I
not
don't
putting their
think
own
that's
money
a
there.
fair comparison.
Yeah, no, they're not putting their own money there, right? They're not printing US dollars. Are they leveraged? Yeah, sure, sure, leveraged.
The
But
difference is that in crypto, people just make up a coin, and then people speculate on it, and then people call themselves billionaires and say that their company has billions of dollars of equity, when what they have is billions of a coin that they made up, and some people have paid $1 for.
Yeah.
So, like a company, when they float, they have to do all kinds of due diligence. They have to prove the value of the company for people to be able to make an informed decision on. And then they have tangible assets that you can sell IRL when the company goes bust. So I would say it's a little bit different.
A little bit different, sure. But if you squint a little bit, then it's basically the same thing. Like
It
Tesla
is
went
not
up
the same
to
thing.
$1,000.
It is not the same
streams
thing.
of prices, right? If you just squint.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Tesla went up to $1,000 last year or something. And I mean, it was valued more than like every other car company in the world combined.
That valuation has nothing to do with that, though, right? Those are two different things.
Speculation.
Yeah, they're doing loans and doing stuff based off their balance sheet, but their balance sheet's based off of a coin that they created. Like no organization can do. Like Tesla can borrow money, and they can valuations is how many people are buying the stock. They really don't control that, right? Tesla doesn't control their own valuation. That's the rest of the market that determines that the stock is undervalued because they think Elon's going to take it over. Like that's totally different. But this, in terms of a VC as a private organization, they are creating deals and have a balance sheet that's based off of tokens that they minted. That's a little bit like that piece, and then then somebody realizes that FTT coin is that they buy a ton up, they sell it off, they drive it to zero, and the next thing you know, FTX is in the shitter because they're the ones that hold that coin, and like it's just I don't know. It seems like did CZ start all this? Is that what happened? Like did Binance start this train rolling?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I read something about that yesterday where there's some sort of pissing contest happening. And then CZ was like, well, we have a lot of FTT. How about we just sell it all?
Just dump it.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah. They saw an opportunity to kill a competitor, right? Because they get, I mean, FTX is they're totally over the ski tips, right? Like you're driving all the stuff based off a token that you have, and you think there's liquidity there. It sounds like Terra One, actually, doesn't it?
Are we spreading misinformation here, or is this
always
facts?
Which part?
Has anybody checked this?
CZ
we're
part?
not journalists. No,
yeah, we're not.
Okay, we're not.
Who's checking the checker? Is someone got Twitter out and checking the facts?
Yeah,
checking the facts on Twitter. Yeah, fair enough.
That's where we gotta look.
So another point I would make is that, the stocks world has like tens of thousands of actually qualified economists and analysts. The emphasis being on actually qualified, not Twitter bots.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. But then also the finance world is what caused the 2008 recession.
For sure. Again, another industry overload.
There was no recession.
Yeah, in Australia.
There was no wait. It didn't hit Australia really in 2008. That didn't hit you.
They have a massive unsustainable bubble caused by the extraction primarily of rare earth metals and fucking oil, right?
There's no rare earth, but the funny thing about 2008 for Australia was that everyone had to spend money to stimulate their economies. And how do you stimulate your economy? You build shit and get money out that way, right? Infrastructure, buildings, all that type of stuff. And who's got the shit you need to build shit? Australia. So we were just selling iron ore hand over fist. Iron ore, coal, all the resources. Just dig them up, put them on a boat.
Oh, that's nice then.
It works.
Yeah, I think we might be fucked this time, though.
Can't buy your way out of this one with your fancy iron ore.
Can't sell our way out of this one.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, right now we have the housing crisis that's probably going to hit that starts more or less in China, right? Because now they have banks that can't even pay their loans for the housing. And then it's a cultural thing to buy a house. And then they bought houses, Chinese have bought houses all over the place. Like Vancouver doesn't let, I think foreigners in general buy houses in Canada anymore. Like there's all sorts of these weird ramifications that are kind of flowing with this, but that's kind of a wider economic discussion.
Yeah, the prepaid mortgage thing, the contraction of that is a fascinating car crash in slow motion. Which a point was made, I think, a minute ago that there are a bunch of like actual economists like working in the financial sector, and remember that like a lot of people drink and turn up late to their seminars and still graduate with good degrees from high flight universities. So actual economist doesn't mean all that much unless you're a jobbing academic. And in addition, the people that are leveraging things 100 times or 200 times or 1,000 times are quite often not speaking to an economist or the legal department of their own bank or the risk department of their own bank before they do those things. So I think it is a fair criticism to say crypto is only similar in the sense that there's people at the wheel who are thick and they are far removed from the experts. But the problem is that maybe nobody is an expert and maybe nobody's. Well, the sense that there is absolutely nobody at the wheel is more. That's like a feeling that I have quite often.
I mean, that's kind of goes with the joke. What do you call a doctor that got a D in med school? Doctor, right? It's like all these people charade as experts, but the reality is like I've seen some experts talk and I'm like, I don't know if they know what they're talking about.
Gaming Nodes would like to apologize to all doctors and economists.
All economists that are listening to this podcast. We had a couple of good comments actually. So Ben Davis said a little earlier, it seems like it's a good time for Fortis to launch on Huahua.
Agreed.
That's when Cosmos goes to zero. And that Australia can't be affected by a bank run because they trade kangaroos.
I thought Fortis did launch on Wawa.
Did they?
Yeah, I thought they did like ages ago.
Fact maybe it's stranger than fiction.
The Juno version.
Well, there you go then. So although Ben Davis, I would say that having now read the book that either Usurper or Dan Wang recommended, Graeber's book on debt, no evidence of a barter economy ever existing. So that's my like first year economics degree. Well, it was a fucking waste of £9,000, wasn't it?
There you go. You call yourself an expert.
Well, just you get to it, and you're like, oh, all right. I mean, I've never really seen anybody trade a rug for a banana, but I guess maybe it happened. It seems plausible. And then I'm like, next thing, graphs, and you're like, oh, there's a lot of. I'm not really a maths person, right? Better just crack on with this, and you can. I'll just take your word for it about the barter thing. I gotta work out what the fuck this is.
Oh shit! Yeah, Null's right.
In August, wow.
August, fuck. See, we're so up on current affairs. Aren't
this
we?
year, shit.
Didn't hear any other tweet about it after that one.
That was it.
It's kind of interesting to see your recommends as well, Null. From I assume you're not like on a VPN or something. It looks like you like Bollywood, I guess, and the war in Ukraine, Bitcoin, and Solana, and cricket. Cricket, I guess that's on brand for Australia, isn't it?
Where do these recommends come from?
It's algorithmic, isn't it?
It's not algorithmic for anything I've ever searched.
The true Kingnodes.
So it's just watching Bollywood films, while just looking at his fat stacks of Bitcoin.
Could be. And number channels, I guess.
What did Golden Ratio say? Scroll down just a little bit. I'm curious.
Nope. And
nope, no dice. Okay, nope, so anyway, so FTX has rugged the market. We're all screwed.
He said, yes, thank you, OMFG.
That seems on brand.
That's on brand. I'm surprised it wasn't jabbing.
He's just the cheer boy for all of the degenerate shit on
yep, it's good.
Twitter.
Adam Bomb says Huahua Fortis is not live on Huahua yet.
Oh no. Well, dragging their heels. Like, wouldn't they have had a functioning project already?
I mean,
Wouldn't they just have to press the go button from?
I mean,
their
it's just
contract?
like those fucking HAL guys that have like fucking
Oh.
finished their code and not launched, huh?
I've heard of those dicks.
What a bunch of fucking dickheads. It's almost like people are kind of loath to launch at the beginning of a year-long bear market. But yeah, no.
When does one pick the turning point to launch? And do you just get the lost in the avalanche of people who have been waiting? Like, why not give the people something to do during the bear market?
Because then you have users who are going to demand features when you have no capacity to deliver them. So you die anyway. What's the point of dying?
I heard you're a good dev, though. I heard you can do it all yourself.
No.
Between 5 and 7 in the afternoons.
I've been the last week. I've been getting up at 6 a.m. and I'm working through to like 10 at night generally. So it's been there's not a lot of slack.
I have only seen you once at 6 a.m. and it was not fucking pretty.
Yep,
and it was recently.
That's been my last. That's been my last week or whatever. So, I'm not sure there's much slack in the old schedule at the moment. So
not a lot of float. Nope.
No, not really. It's funny as well. I was looking at the sheet and like we've been collecting some of the many dramas of the last week, just like noted them down, and like it all seems quite tame compared to the FTX thing is so wild. Like the fact that CZ might have initiated it and everything, like it's so like
that is wild speculation though.
It's wild speculation. I mean, I guess I should say I live in the UK, so the sources have alleged there are. On Twitter have commented that it might be the case that I obviously have no opinion on the matter and have not looked into it, and I'm not alleging any kind of criminal misdeed or civil misdeed or moral misdeed.
It's not that far-fetched though, right? Like it's not incredibly far-fetched. Even if you like look at how Terra collapsed, same type of thing, right? So I mean, somebody saw an opportunity and applied funds to be able to work off it, right? So it's not far-fetched.
And what if they're all the same person? Yeah,
could be.
Or same group. What if it's
United States government?
Yeah, what if it's all the Federal Reserve because they just really want to get everybody on that centralized bank digital currency?
Yeah, man, they're just priming the market for their CBDC.
It's probably Australia government.
The Australian government is like
fucking evil down there.
Only people got money only people who got money in Australia is Woodside and BHP.
It's true.
So did you watch that that Australian government or the Western Australian government honest ad?
I've not been to Western Australia, so I didn't really. I recognize that there are some.
No. Did you that link I dropped yesterday? Did you watch the honest ad?
Which one are you talking about?
Okay, never mind. So there's this YouTube channel that does like honest government ads, and it's fucking hilarious. And they did one for Western Australia, and it was like doubly hilarious. But they've got one for the UK, and they've got one for all kinds of governments. It's funny. They just basically pick on the, misdeeds of the government.
Well, the UK, what would it be like? It's run by aristocratic people with webbed feet.
Well, we could watch it. We could watch it right now because, everything we do, we get copyright strikes on anything.
I'm the only one that sees them when they fucking come up in our YouTube notifications. It's like I get the email. It's like, motherfucker, what are you doing? And I'm like, God damn it, Null's just loose cannon. But we can't get copyright struck off before next week because next week's mesh chads.
Oh, mesh chads.
Mesh security chats. That's the Chad chat. We can do mesh security. It's gonna be great. Have all the heavy hitters.
You realise that 3 of the people here will just be like, "Fuck, are they talking about?"
Why?
Hey,
why? Why do you think that
understands what it is?
We were having to understand it better. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but the Frey is going to get deep in the weeds of like Rust, and then say something about that other software.
I don't think There's no Rust, right? Is there? Oh, maybe there is. I don't know.
Oh, it's
The whole thing's in
Rust,
like,
baby.
Is it?
Oh yeah,
It's cool.
Yeah, it's a Cosm Wasm thing.
I just
Well,
wanna-
it was going to be Go, wasn't it? And then just for fucking Chad points, they kind of like knocked out one in Cosmwasm to prove it's just quicker to just do shit in Cosmwasm.
yeah. I just want to shit on interchain security. We do that. Can I do that? Is that
We
gonna
do
happen?
that. We could do it now. We could do it now. I mean,
Can I shit
why
on,
not?
Can I shit on ACS?
I
Is that
believe
fine?
the exact quote was ICS is cock. Let's make something better.
Just want to do that.
That's, I heard that was what Ethan said. That was a direct quote.
Yeah, direct
Sounds like
quote.
something Ethan would say, isn't it?
Maybe, maybe not. Find out next week on Game of Nodes.
That was a
Hey,
direct
well-
quote from the Cosm Wasm circle jerk.
You're not in the Telegram chat for that, so I know you're lying.
Did they commit that like
yeah, like Jake Watt.
like Jake Watt?
No.
Actual photos of the
Cosmwasm
circle jerk.
It's on Reddit. It's r//Cosmwasm circle jerk. It's just all spicy memes about why Cosm. Anyway,
It's like a party of three.
it's like Rust crabs killing gophers and shit. It's all very childish memes.
Yep.
Yeah, so it all feels so low stakes that the Sif drama wasn't there. That's all kind of the wheels are coming off over there, right?
What is going on there anyway? Yeah.
Are you working
Somebody
your
sum
way
it up?
down your list now? Your list
Yeah,
of
well,
things?
I'm just kind of like I feel like the fact that the only viable competitor decks to Osmosis in the ecosystem appears to be sort of shaking itself to pieces, which is again kind of interesting. How is it a problem that Osmosis is so dominant as a dex in the eco? Like maybe not. It's got deep liquidity at least, but it's kind of interesting that like from where they were this time last year, like Sif is kind of just feels like to me as somebody who's not validating that chain that it's fallen to pieces really. And a lot of the pools, the liquidity on them and stuff reflects consumer sentiment about the riskiness of that chain as well, I would say.
Has anyone ever made money on SIF validating? Do any of you guys validate SIF? I don't.
No.
No? Schultze?
No. That was
No?
too early for me.
Oh. I mean, I was here, but I was like, no, thanks.
I don't trust
why
any.
were you like no?
It was, for me, it was because of the UI. I was like, they're never going to make it.
I was just about to say that. I was going to say I don't trust any chains with cursive logos. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a zero. No.
Has
Cursive
a cursive
logos,
logo
like that.
chain ever made it?
Mustard cursive. I was like,
No.
question your abilities.
Like,
so
if you're
funny.
not sure, just go with Helvetica, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
I actually validated on SIFchain at the very beginning, and
Why
they had
did you
this
leave,
weird.
Chauncey?
What?
Why ever did you leave?
Yeah, so they used this custom script to get signing up and everything, and my validator would sign for a day and then it would just stop signing and jail itself. And so after a couple times of it doing that, I was like, you know what, it's not worth the time, and bounced.
That was it.
This was
Schultze out.
my validator is actually still jailed on here. I just pulled it up. Yeah, I was just like, nah, I'm out. I had like 8 tokens or something.
Well, it's the blockchain, and it'll never disappear. You'll be jailed forever.
Well, I wasn't sure if I unjailed and then like
Unbonded?
Yeah. Instead, I was just like, nah, I'm out.
Do you kind of feel like maybe you should unjail and unbond though, just so you've not got that hanging over your head? One of your Lavender.Five nodes perpetually in jail forever.
Well, so that's why I thought about it, because I was like, am I still jailed? Because I know I did that on some chains, because I didn't I would have people exit and then I would just shut them down, right? Whenever there was no delegations left on it. I think Kava is one of those. Before I knew that, this was very early on, because I was in Kava pretty early on as well. And I didn't realize that you could unbond to not become jailed.
You picked 2 winners there, mate.
I know, right?
Just change your name on there to Kingnodes or Needlecast or somebody. That's fine.
Just change your moniker. You can
Change
do
my
that while
identity
you
too.
You can change it anyway. Just Cosmo Station.
FTT.com.
Cosmo Station. Fuck this chain.
To be fair, you could just change your name to Cosmos Station
You can,
and just add their
identity.
identity.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
From like Keybase. And
Anybody.
like,
Yeah. Fucking pick one.
hold on a second.
Steak fish.
It would be quite fun actually to just run a bunch of Sybils on Kerberos and just call them all Cosmos Station.
Cosmo Station 2, Cosmo Station 3.
Just have like 8 of them and or do it on Huahua because people vaguely care, but it probably costs you about £5 to pull that prank.
Mm-hmm.
And then just have like 8 Cosmos Station and people be like, what the fuck? You'd be like, look, you can tell it's a prank because they're not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which they would be if Cosmos Station was finally gone rogue. And why would they do it on Huahua? But that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
Just to
hey man, Huahua's up and coming. It's an up and coming chain.
Well, Fortis is launching on it. Yeah.
Going where?
Up only.
Up, then down. That's
boom bust. It's the cycle. It's the cycle of life. Boom bust.
Yeah. I do have to say though, I mean I probably shouldn't say this because maybe this is fudding, but I've been thinking more and more about you know like the line you draw between like an app chain and a smart contract chain, and obviously I'm biased, right? Because CWSDK is like eventually, hopefully, will be a very easy substrate for. If you know how to deploy a smart contract, if you know a bit of Rust, you can just spin up an app chain, IBC module, YOLO, right?
Mm-hmm.
But mesh and things like that will make the economic security side of the picture piece, easier in time and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it does feel like we're in a weird place right now with Cosmos, where the more I think about it, the more I'm not actually sure we need smart contract platforms in the Cosmos ecosystem. Because I was thinking about Archway, like they're so late to the party. They've literally had like a year and they had like millions of dollars of investment. But it feels like, you're chasing after the paradigm of Ethereum, which is not going to happen in Cosmos. Like by the time you had the density of applications on a chain to make it like Ethereum, those applications would move on to their own app chains anyway. And like Juno and the other chains recognize that, and they go, oh well, people will go and make their own app chains. But actually, like the bar for an app chain is way lower than that theory suggests. So I think I don't know. If we ever get back to the bull market, I think that will be tested. That'll be like the first assumption I think that will go.
I would tend to agree, and I think there's something to be said about the additional marketing excitement that comes around a new chain as opposed to a new app that deploys on Juno or wherever. There's something about a native token being part of the app as opposed to just a CW20 or what have you. No, you look very skeptical of what I'm saying.
No fudding, but.
No, I was thinking, I got stuck in the cog turned and got stuck. I was thinking of why like that might be, that there's more enthusiasm around an app when it has a native coin. And I think that's probably like, I don't know if it's because people think that potentially the coin might become worth something because of the network activity, or whether the coin might become worth something because of the app activity driving network activity, or people are just fucking crazy and buy whatever.
I think possibly people are correct. People missed out on Bitcoin, right? That's the fundamental reason. You can scratch all you like, but that is like the root of all of it.
So this is like the perpetual search to get in at the bottom of something.
Right. And the great beauty of the app chain thesis, if it works, will be that eventually an app chain will be like fucking making an HTML website, and it will be incredibly obvious that it's worthless. Like the token will serve whatever utility the application has, and as soon as the application stops having utility, the token will be 100% worthless. Like,
Yeah,
so taking that idea for like 3 years in the future, 5 years in the future, whatever it is, where if the app chain model wins out, right, you want to make a new eBay, you would just do it as an app chain, right, and it would have its own native token, but it would be completely worthless. And this is the point at which you would need, tokenomics experts to go, oh, well, it needs to have a high supply. Maybe you want constant emissions and like a low but steady inflation rate or whatever. But like, it's also going to be one chain among many, many, many. So like you will see teams starting to shoot for sustainability of income rather than high return, potentially nothing afterward, which is what you see at the moment. Because as soon as the hype cycle is over, people don't wait around to see if a team can deliver. They generally dump.
So here's the thing, right? I think that the way people launch and market projects is all wrong, in that they, like, the way it's gone is that a team will like get an MVP, launch the MVP with the aim of like selling the token to people who are already in the community and want to speculate. But what they like, I don't think they should be doing that. I think they should be just accepting that, like running at a loss, like a normal company who's in a development phase for a fairly long period, while they actually, the aim should be to market to users of the actual app that they're trying to build. So like, people shouldn't be buying big bags of token for an app chain. They should be buying it as they need it to use it for that application. They shouldn't be buying a big fucking bag and going, I'm rich. They should be like, an app chain should be when someone needs to use that app on that chain. And the app chain concept is just for scalability. It's not for anything else. It's just that you spin up a different app so that you can, have some sort of serviceability on there without crazy gas fees and all the other bullshit. But the flip side is that it's not good for an investment. You should be buying it to use it, pay to use, and that's what should drive the price of that in the long run. And they should just be pretty much selling that constantly out of a treasury to fund development as people need to use it. So if you've got something that no one needs to use, it should never fucking make it anyway. So it's a little bit different for something like RHINO, where they actually want to create a platform that people can build on. But if you're purely an app chain, then you shouldn't need to convince people to speculate on your token. You should develop and drive utility through your token, and then the price go up when people actually need to use it. But it shouldn't even really be based around the price going up anyway. That should only be to support validators who can just claim and dump basically when they get their rewards to sustain their operations as a business.
Right, but another way of doing that would be to not have the price go up and just have low sustainable emissions, so that validators, like, there's never a constriction in minting. So validators are always getting a sort of predictable minting schedule, but you keep the mint low so that inflation is going to somewhat tread a similar line to fiat, right? To a kind of real world, worldwide price inflation. Like if you get a basket of all market trackers, like in a ETF or something, it's going to be like 3% or something averaged, across all the years or whatever. So if you had like a token that just emitted 3%, with the assumption that the primary consumer of that 3% is validators who have to pay their server bills in fiat, but everybody else, like you say, is maybe going to buy from other people exiting based on, really what you need to do is design your app chain around concepts that have a market, because then people will always be exiting.
I'm almost certain that the original, idea of the tokens going round and round, right? So is not the idea that some people invest, right? And then the tokens that get burned in fees through usage go back, and then they come back for sale to people to buy them on market from people getting the rewards and selling them. Then they go back to users who use them, and then they come back to people who get those fees from rewards from people using them. Like emission, if you can sustain it, you can't sustainably do it. That's the thing. But
if it's a deflation currency,
if there is enough usage of the app, like if it is actually going to fucking make it app, if there's enough usage, it should be able to sustain itself through like market forces of people not wanting. Because if it's the same with Bitcoin, right? If there is like a certain price point that it costs to make the Bitcoin, then miners are reluctant to sell it below that, right? And then they won't. But there can be like a self-leveling market as in the validators as well, in that, if you don't have enough stake to be able to get enough fees to sustain your business, you would just drop off and those will go up and be distributed to the other ones. And then so, the people drop off, people come when the usage forces allow more fees to be distributed. Like it can work without inflation at all. It's just that, the app actually has to fucking have users. And if they don't have them, then why have the chain anyway?
Well,
for hype, for profit of, the core team who sell them. Like, I think it can work, the app chains in some respect, and I think it is abused as well a lot in other respects. I think users are abused a lot. There's speculators are abused a lot in that they just hype things to sell them stuff that's like snake oil.
Yeah. Plus, app chains are doing airdrops to get people interested, and then you also have an easy amount of VC money, but some of that VC money is also coming from, similar to the FTX thing, is based off of valuations internally that are also based off of holdings of other things that don't necessarily have any value, or they couldn't be sold because there's so much that would drive price pressure down. And so it's like a cyclical type of thing that can feed into itself for sure. Some of that stuff is just the money's too easy, right? And then when you have a tokenomic structure that has a heavy amount of internal selling, and then you have groups selling those things off behind the scenes. You have validators that are trying to be able to repay costs. Like it's not a typical startup culture where there's a percentage that fail, and there's a high percentage that fail and a small percentage that succeed, and only sometimes some of the best ideas that succeed. Like there's so much cash that's flowing around, and the liquidity is there really from launch, that I think startup teams can usually do pretty well, right?
Yeah, but the people who don't do well
are the ones coming in afterwards.
Yeah, or the people who are like, making investments thinking that they're going to make money in the long run when they just are building liquidity for it to be dumped on by other people.
That's exactly it, right? Because then you have airdroppers coming in, or you think it's going to go up, or you see the possibility there, and you're just kind of buying into a bet, and then it turns into a Ponzi, because the only thing that sustains that is more people coming in, right? Exactly. That's the only thing that's there, because there's no return on an investment, because there's no investment there. There's nothing there that's necessarily valuable, right? And so it just turns into my way of sustaining the coin price is more people coming into the ecosystem.
Exactly.
That's bad.
Well, that's bad for individuals.
It's bad for everybody.
Particularly, it's particularly bad for like people entering crypto who think that they're going to be able to, have a go of it, make some investments because of the hype, and then ultimately just end up losing their investment, right? And you do that to enough people, and then the enthusiasm goes out of the market entirely.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're getting there now. There's probably been enough people burnt across the market that there's probably going to be a pretty big loss of enthusiasm across the market as a whole, I would say now.
Yeah.
So then you've got a bear market, and then you've got like a couple of years until there's a stimulus that makes the enthusiasm come back. And I'm almost confident that the stimulus for the last bull market, which lasted a good few years, was COVID and people being bored at home and having nothing to do. And there was a liquidity crunch, and then there was a boom, and it just went for like 2 years.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, we're probably describing something that's similar to, real world stuff as well.
Yeah.
In a lot of respects for different markets.
Bitcoin just crossed under 16,000 just while we were talking. So if that goes to under 10, and then it starts going into, right, you start getting into the fives and those types of things where you're going back years and years and years, I think all these ecosystems fall off. Like there's a direct correlation there, unfortunately. And Ethereum is 1,100 right now. That thing starts getting to the under the grand and 800, 600, 500. Like if it starts falling in those types of areas, those are usually like the bellwethers for some of these other types of things. Then
that's crazy because I remember selling my ETH at 1,100.
Yeah,
fucking years ago. Like,
me too.
And that was riding it up from $100.
Right.
1,100.
I think the
doors watching it go all the way back down again once, and then riding it up the second time, and then being like,
I should look. I probably have that. That's my base. Where
I think the last doorstop for ETH was around $200, and the last doorstop for Bitcoin was maybe like $5,000.
Yeah, it was still pretty high. Yeah,
I have to go back and look. That would have been 20. God, what
but
year was that? I should look.
I mean, we're in the process of looking at what will come off AWS finally. This is our what's the do you get Wallace and Gromit in America or in Australia?
We do?
To get that?
Sure.
Yeah. In the wrong trousers when they're sat around the breakfast table and he's counting the pennies in the piggy bank. He's like, "We're going to have to make some economies, Gromit." That's like
that's where you are.
That's where we are right now. There's no sense prevaricating about the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's bad news. Like right now, this is worse. Well, I guess it's not as bad as where we were at in some of these prices, right? Cosmos under $10.
Yeah,
Osmo heading to $1 here.
Like Cosmos was around 7, I think.
Yeah, I think that's where it went down to. I remember Osmosis like 90 cents.
Yeah.
Juno $2, something like that.
Yeah, big picture, I guess, like in 2019, 2020, whenever it was, I first picked up a stack of Atom. It was $1 or $2 per Atom. So yeah. It's got a long way to go down. I mean, Juno's going there right now. By look of it, we might hit ATL tonight.
Oof.
Maybe, which is a not great place to be, but
yeah. I sold Ethereum. I sold Ethereum in 2019 at 250, but I think I bought it at like 10 or 30 or something.
Nice. I mean, this is the thing though. Every I think it's that thing sometimes when you look at things like I went a lot higher. I mean, I sold like 10,000 or 20,000.
What do you know, right?
Dogecoin for I tried to get it at 420.69, but obviously it ended up being about 421. I got back for it, and then of course it kept going up, and then that would have been like, I don't know, 10 grand or something at one point.
Yeah, I sold 200. I sold 200 ETH at 250.
Damn.
I remember that coming back too, and I was like, all right, I'm selling it now. And of course, it then went to $3,000. That was smart. What are you gonna do? You never know, right?
What you can do?
You take the percentage that you have.
Yeah, I know somebody that had 3,000 Bitcoin, and then after would it have been the original DAO? No, it would have been Mt. Gox, maybe. Obviously, super down, and then as soon as it started to recover back past their original buying point, they were like, "I'm out."
Right.
Taking $1 profit on each one or whatever, or $2 or whatever, because this was like way back in the day when it was worth fucking nothing.
People own Juno at $43. If it went to $43, everybody would sell, right? So
yeah,
same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think if it went over $5 right now, we'd be like, I would be lying if I said we wouldn't liquidate some stuff to make sure that, because we're now looking at our roadmap and our runway and going like, how many months can we sustain at X amount of, cost basis or whatever.
Right.
That's I think the planning that validators and chains now sort of need to be looking at probably.
I would think some of these other, like these larger business, I mean, our costs are in control, right? But like you got stake fishes of the world and Cosmos stations, everything else. Those are pretty large cost structures there. That it's a fixed income or a fixed cost piece that, I got $100,000 a month or 250 or 300,000 that's going out for salaries or whatever, $1 million a month going out in salaries. That's fixed. This it's a huge amount of risk here.
Yeah. But I mean, we're a lot smaller. Like, I mean, we were talking about this before the call.
Yeah.
Like, even for Aptos, we are in a increasingly less risky situation based on some, sharp decision making, but after some very bad decision making. But there is a scenario I think where you can see how quickly it could happen. Basically, even as a smaller operator, that you can make a set of calls based on market conditions as you call them, and obviously staking different ecosystems and whatnot works differently, but like unbonding is 28 days on Juno. It's like 14 on Atom.
Yeah.
Look at FTX, look at Solana. You can get wrecked in that time. If it's more than a day, if it's more than a minute, you can get wrecked.
Yeah, easily.
UST, and all that whole situation that went down in a day, didn't it?
It's a fucking mess.
And then you're still going to have to pay the tax on it to your government. Well, I mean, I don't know how it works in your jurisdiction, but we still would have to. So you'd have to pay the tax at the point you had it on the thing that's now worth nothing, and you can't write it off as a loss either. So you just go bust.
Not pulling any rewards. Not right.
Yeah,
let it sit.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to compound anything again for a while. There's not much point, even at selling at almost nothing. It's just like, well, anything you have to pay tax on that's not going to make money. Yeah, I think DCA is probably out the window when things get really tough, isn't it?
This is a great episode. I'm glad we sat around. I'm glad we could get together and talk about this for an hour and a half. What else we got going on?
So, yeah,
give me some good news. No,
well, Gitopia testnet, that's kind of cool.
Was that an invite thing?
Or is it like an invite thing?
Free-for-all type thing?
It wasn't a free for all. It was kind of.
It looks like a free for all.
Maybe it's somewhere in the middle.
Do you want some tokens?
What's a free for all? What are you talking about?
Gitopia. Testnet.
It was invite, but you can get a couple of tokens from people to spawn a validator.
Yeah, I got some. I'm not pulling. What do you call it? Commissions or that kind of stuff. Auto compound.
Yeah, I only got 5. I think I got a couple hundred or something like that.
Going back, I really like utility chains. I really like this idea. I think it's cool. And it seems like they made a huge amount of progress in this last build, just with what's going on and the functionality they're providing. I don't think private repos are there yet. I know it's a little bit more complicated than just enabling it. But it seems like they made a ton of progress on the app side. So, and I like the UI is great. Everything's cool.
But so it kind of seems like there's like an app, Gitopia, and then it's kind of like the chain, how you pay for stuff, and the two are like loosely associated. But the actual the wiring and plumbing for how all the back end works is still like centralized within the organization, within the Gitopia DAO, right?
I don't know about that. I know the storage, they made some changes to storage, right? She'll say that they're using IPFS and something else from a storage perspective.
Weave, does it?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm not sure there, but I think it's a little more tightly coupled. Like your accounts are associated with your mnemonics, kind of thing, your private key. And there's a lot of things they can do with it. RHINO and I were talking about, like it'd be really cool if one way to be able to support a repo would be to like stake on the repo. that way the repo owner would, get commissions or what have you. I think there's a lot of really interesting things they could do to run with it.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Signed binaries, like there's just so much good stuff here that, like, just on chain. I mean, it's a good blockchain use case. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do agree. I'm quite excited about Utopia.
Yeah,
but
like teams, like they're very patient. Like it seems like they're not rushing ahead with things. Like they're making progress from a dev team perspective, and I'm glad we're involved in some sort of small way. It's cool.
Yeah, you should spin up a node on it now. It's gonna be good.
Send you some stuff.
You have some Gitopia testnet tokens if you want them.
I'll check it out. I looked at Gitopia months and months ago. I just at the time I couldn't see how it could possibly work.
Kind of sort of started to work. I mean, you sort of have to do a bit of wrangling, but they self-host their own code, which is a start. It's still quite a lot of a faff, but I think I mean, I'd be open to using it to say host the HAL code or something like that.
Yeah,
if we ever actually fucking get some of those bits sorted,
we can move Game of Nodes episode notes for sure. That was easy.
Yeah,
let's get that over there. Let's move some stuff over there. Come on.
Yeah,
do that.
But yeah, no, it seems like an obvious use case for anything where a DAO will probably legally own its own code in the future, if and when DAO is a recognized thing, if it ever is. It seems like Utopia is like a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I guess the problem there is that it's so untested. So like our position, the way we worked on RHINO and stuff like that, and the way our lawyers sort of talked about it was, we're sort of appointed, and the fact they said, obviously, with the caveat that's all completely untested in actual legal precedent. But if you can be removed like a contract association, if you're a company, you're basically just you're working on an appointment basis, and that and it will get a little bit interesting, I guess, in terms of liability and stuff. But just in terms of DAOs actually being able to make decisions and stuff, obviously that's an interesting kind of view to take, that it's like like being appointed to anything. But also, like, the more you have tools for these things to make decisions and then like host their own stuff, the more interesting it is, really. Like,
does that mean you're considered like almost like you would call it like a contractor at that point? That's
how we see ourselves as related to RHINO or whatever. It's how we see ourselves related to how like we work on the code.
Yeah. There's some ownership there, right?
Yeah, we work on the code. I think we pay a few quid a month for some GitHub action credits to make sure the code's solid. In return, we'll get a Genesis allocation as a company for the work we put in. Same as other contributors, our percentage isn't different from other core contributors. It's again, it's all this kind of untested kind of waters where it's just like, well, yeah, but you can have some say in determining how those things work, which is maybe more true of a project you're very directly involved in versus some like RHINO, where the tokenomics were just like completely out of our
I mean, you're not in any control, right? You have no.
Yeah, we have no say, no control.
Yeah, you're a member of a team that's somebody else has that issue, I should say.
Yeah,
right?
member of a DAO, if you like.
Right.
Well, group of people, a group of nerds on the internet, certainly. Is a DAO? What if a DAO is just a group of nerds on the internet? I need to make that meme. Is this a butterfly meme? Group of nerds on the internet. Is this a DAO?
It's just a new version of an IRC channel.
Yeah, a DAO is just a Telegram. It's just an IRC chat with extra steps.
Literally,
is Game of Nodes a DAO? I mean,
is this a DAO?
Yeah. To be fair, I should probably just start sending Jake that meme with just everything I can think of, just caption. Is this a DAO? Is this a DAO?
Yeah.
As long as you say the word DAO enough times, he'll be happy.
If you say it like 4 times, does he automatically join the call?
I think so.
It's like
probably not. He's probably doing something busy and exciting these days.
it's like a Beetlejuice thing where you say his name 3 times and like.
I thought it was Freddy Krueger that did that.
Oh, is it?
I thought it was Bloody Mary.
It's Bloody Mary.
Was it the Candyman or is it a different thing? Which one's the Candyman?
I know. I mean, I know for sure that is Beetlejuice, but there might be other ones too.
I know for sure. Just to be clear,
Like,
I know for
listen,
sure.
I know exactly it's Beetlejuice, but
It's after,
somebody in the chat.
after the 31st. I'm 100% clear which monster we're invoking here.
Exactly. Fucking hell! What a week.
Yeah, it's been a week.
Who's got the chicken? Who's got a rooster in their house? Is that your place? Is that what's going on in Australia out there? Jesus! Don't open the window; make it worse.
Doesn't seem to be working out.
Does not seem to be working out. Is there a post on your window?
Give up.
we need to get like the other day, midway through what has been a tough week. Yusuf made the joke about you need to get the poster of the cat saying like "hang in there."
Hang in there, baby.
There's a spot right behind Null. You can literally put it there.
You couldn't. You'd hang in there.
Hang in there. Yeah.
Oh, I liked you here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah,
exactly.
on the blinds. Exactly.
That'd be great. Do you see the documentary on Netflix about the? It feels oddly relevant actually, but about the GameStop thing, and then right at the end it has like the Senate hearing where they're like, "Did you engage in market manipulation?" And it's got that the troll guy that found the over leveraging in the first place, and he's just sat there on this Senate hearing, like in a shirt and tie, but like just in his home office with his headphones on, and he has like a poster behind him that just says "hang in there."
Is that true?
Yeah, and he just like
That's
he's
funny.
just like he basically is just like, I wasn't involved in any collusion. I didn't tell people to do anything. I just told them what I was doing.
Yep.
And fundamentally, I like the stock, which is like the Wall Street bets meme is like, we like the stock.
We like the stock.
Says, like, Madam Chairwoman, I have to just say that I like the stock. And then they didn't pin anything on him at all. He was just like,
I like the stock.
I like the stock.
That's it.
If I just say that enough times, and like you can tell he's been briefed by a lawyer, and he just like goes, "Dad, I like the stock.
I like it.
I just like it. That's what I gotta tell you."
I mean, that was similar with like Brett Kavanaugh's hearing for Supreme Court, where he basically just kept saying, "Well, I like beer. What do you want me to say?
I like it.
I like beer."
Fucking hell.
They can't. Yeah. It
reminds me of you remember? Do you ever see the Chappelle show with? You guys ever watch Dave Chappelle show back in the day?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When he goes in front of the grand jury, when they do the swap between the corporate, the kind of the corporate tax evasion whatever skit and the drug dealer, and they switch kind of locations, and he goes in the Senate hearing. He pleads the fifth. You guys, I'll put a link in the show notes too, but it's kind of the same idea. I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just like really distracted by this.
The chicken? The rooster?
Is there just a picture of a rooster and it's like rooster cock, and you're like, fucking rooster cocks, huh?
It's just this fucking thing is just like nosedive.
Yeah.
Last, like, couple of minutes.
Since we've been on this call, everything I'm watching is down at least 4 to 5%.
That is
in the last
quite
hour.
Wild. Do we need to rename this? Do we need to rename this fucking this episode to the fucking Death Spiral episode?
Seriously,
Cosmos is down. Maybe that
10%.
we're a little bit too Debbie Downer, and now like we bummed out our 5 viewers and everything there.
Nobody's watching this right now. They're just watching this board. Yeah, Cosmos is down. It's 940. I swear to God, I just said it was. Did I just say it was $11 like 10 minutes ago?
When we like it $11 earlier. Fucking hell.
Didn't I fucking say that? I thought I said that. I have to go back.
When we started the podcast, Juno was 230. It's 210.
Yeah.
we're 1 cent off all-time low.
Sell.
Joy.
Do not sell. Don't you rug me, you motherfuckers.
Did you unbond? Did you unbond your shit?
Just unbond everything now.
Fuck.
Man, in 21 days, it was 24 days, 27 days? How many fucking days is Juno? It's a lot. I've never unbonded
I think it's 28 because it's 4 weeks,
28.
right?
Jesus.
Juno's 28, yeah.
Expect everything to be pretty fucked up.
Adam says, change the time to F in the chart.
Yeah, no shit. F in the chart is exactly right.
That's the one.
fucking hell.
The thing that I've learned from this particular bear, is that I suspected this would happen, like that it was going to go, and then like something else was going to kick off, and I didn't act accordingly. And I was like, I should have remembered the meme that I shared around earlier. The Simpsons one.
95%, 95%.
No, it's the Enron. They're at a roller coaster park, and it's like Enron the ride, and it's like the .com crash, I think, isn't it? It's like,
yeah.
We're all going to be millionaires. Oh, wait, we might make our money back. Oh, and then the
poorhouse.
Yeah, and then the final station where the roller coaster goes into is labeled the poorhouse,
and they all go, oh,
and they're like, oh, right. I was like, yeah, that's kind of where we are right now.
No.
Whether or not we can weather it, I don't know. Time will tell.
I pulled rewards and all that shit last night to do our Gibbs thing and everything else. And I never sold it. I just realized.
To do your what? Gives?
All right, we do that RHINO Gibbs thing where we do 10% and everything else. I pulled rewards last night, and then I never actually pulled them over. Smart. Smart.
I was meant to go and do that accounting last fucking Tuesday, and then everything kicked off, and so we haven't pulled rewards in ages, and now they're worth nothing. So
I don't think this new Osmosis UI really does it for me.
The new one,
it just seems bigger. It's just bigger. There's just less shit on the screen. That's all it really is.
I mean, everything's too large. You don't really need money anyway, right? It's not like any bank will take it.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Well, yeah, it is. That's one of the many things that's concerning me right about now, if I'm honest. Yeah. So I
want to talk about this.
I've said crypto to my bank many, many times, and they're just like, meh.
Well,
you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, we have been doing it for 18 months. Although granted, until Juno launch, it was very infrequent and tiny amounts. But yeah,
my accountant did run away though.
Your accountant ran away.
Yeah, I
really?
need a new accountant. Yeah,
would just actually run away.
Not with my money. They just
just want to get away from you.
They just wanted to get away from me. I mean, they dropped me as a client. They're like, this seems high risk.
Yeah.
And I was like,
probably right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably right.
Sounds right.
Fair enough. As long as they got good, as long as they got really nice liability insurance, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people that are scared of getting audited.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have a problem. Probably my biggest concern right now is that the complexity of accounting for crypto is such that we still don't have our settled year accounts that ended in April. So we don't know how much we owe in tax, and we don't know what that position is related to before the market completely bottomed out. So we could be in the position right now where we are technically bankrupt because of our tax bill, because in the UK, crypto is just like cars, right? So on our budget sheet, as a company, we've got 20,000 cars. They're just very cheap cars, right? They're worth $5 each or $2 or whatever. But we've just bought and sold a load of used cars, and we might have screwed up the price we bought them for or the price we sold them for, and we don't know yet. And that's when you realize that analogy, you're like, I am literally A, used car salesman, and B, possibly a used car salesman who's bad at maths. And 3 possibly also bankrupt already. You're like, yes.
Better call Saul.
Yeah. We're gonna need to dig ourselves out of this one, boys. But yeah, that is a genuine thing now where right. You know things are like not ideal when you're writing to when you write to anybody and being like, this is sorry to bug you, but this thing has still not been settled and is now an existential threat to the business. So if you could just
maybe take care of this,
just finalize those up and
just figure this out,
send them on to the government so they can tell us what we owe them, that would be just great. That would be just great.
Yeah, the government.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's all good when price go up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you know what, it's that thing? It's that thing, isn't it? If you're just like, it's been such a tiring year, even when the price was up. There hasn't really been a break.
Yeah,
you're just like, if you go through the whole thing and you just kind of I think it's that thing of the realization of how exhausting a prolonged bear market could be in terms of death by 1,000 cuts. You're like, oh god, do we really have to go through this? Maybe it's time to go back to a contract.
Fucking Prop 16 was in March. Is that right? That was this year. That feels like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit! What a fucking year.
The prop that broke the market.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the point.
That was the point.
What an awful year.
Downhill since then.
Seriously, what an awful year.
I was talking about this with my wife earlier and just being a variety of stuff that wasn't super great happened in quick succession around then. And I was like, fucking hell, that was over 6 months ago, and it feels like minutes.
It feels a lot longer to me. It feels like it happened a while ago, a long time ago.
Because 6 months ago was 5 years in crypto land.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super weird. If you ask me what the year has felt like as it's been going along, I feel like every day has been 10,000 years long and just full of work. But because all the days have been work, they've all just the way your memory compacts them all down, really similar experiences, it compacts them all down. And sitting at a laptop, just bashing away in Emacs it gets or whatever. A lot of it, to be honest, I don't even get to write that much code anymore. So it just all gets compacted down, fucking staring at Cosmovisor logs. Yeah, your memory's don't need that garbage. Collect that shit. Fucking let's log compact all those times you were just staring at a log, going what the fuck. Don't need to remember about that. You're not going to need that in 2 years, mate. Compact all that stuff down. Keep Lord of the Rings, Heat, rewatch.
That's right.
That's right. It was as good a film as I remember. So it's right, we better keep that memory. That. Yeah, Heat worth watching. Might want to tell your friends. That's in the memory bank. Almost everything else, discard. It's probably not important.
Dump.
Yeah.
Simpsons memories. That's it. Everything else can go. Game of Nodes.
Simpsons references are a keeper, I'd say. Yeah. They're always a keeper.
And Game of Nodes episode 35. Hugely popular. That was a good one.
Live forever.
Yeah. Live forever.
What was that episode about?
Exactly. That's the one. That's the one we accidentally skipped over.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hence the name of this one now.
F in the chat. I don't get it.
What other good news happened this week?
FTT BUSD up 50% in the last 5 minutes. 60%.
FTT BUSD. Yeah, Binance US. Oh, why?
Last 24 hours up 2,000%. I don't know. That doesn't seem right.
That doesn't seem right at all.
Maybe this interface is balked. FTT
it might be.
to BUSD. Oh, it's I don't know, some bullshit coin, I think.
Some bullshit.
No, BUSD is Binance is stable, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but the FTT one is I think it's a bullshit coin.
Oh, that's not.
It's on Binance Smart Chain, so it's a Ponzi rug,
I got
fucking
you.
all the rest immediately.
I got you.
We start getting sex spam bots in the chat, but only
Good.
around the hour 15 mark. I think if you're running for longer than a period of time, they're like, this must be really engrossing content. Let's offer
some nudity.
Yeah, let's
Like donkey
offer some
content.
nudity to break it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
like,
how many of our 5 viewers are bots? Can people put in proof of life?
I think that really is Todd G.
I can't believe
the rest. I can't. Silk Nose is here.
I can't believe we just accidentally streamed the market collapsing. Just wow. And you know, like it's like what's the film in the Loop where they have the fake? It's like it's not the Iraq War, but it's a fake version of it. And then right at the end, that it's they're all it's like a political comedy. They're all going to go to war, and one of them is like, so that's it then. And then they're like, Aid is like, oh, so most momentous event of our generation. I'll tell this story to my grandchildren. I turned to the minister and he said to me, "Oh, that's it then. That's your quote for the ages." I feel like that's this episode. It's like, well, that's a 2-year bear market there potentially. Hey, but flip side, maybe it'll be fine. No, next week, maybe Moss will be back up, June will be back up. We'll be like, it was all fine, boys.
The hell were we talking about last week? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I mean that'd be nice.
The Giga Chads episode could be the one to turn it around. That's what I'm saying.
Like
Game of Nodes spreadsheet. What are you enthusiastic about this week? What are you optimistic about this week? Game of Nodes, put it in your diaries. Giga Chad's episode going to turn the market around.
Like the last market body slam was UST, right? Like that's when we hit the ATL last. Was it UST?
That sounds right.
Was it that, or was it 3 arrows after that? I forget. I forget which one had a bigger issue.
June 18th. So that would be about a month after the Terra collapse.
That might have been 3 arrows, right? I thought that actually kicked it off a little bit harder.
3 euros?
3 Arrow Capital.
Yeah, when they collapsed. Like, has there been there can't have been a comparable issue to a major exchange like since Mt. Gox, really? Like, can you remember like a time when a major, like an actual like big,
not big a proper one.
Yeah,
centralized exchange has gone bust? Because this is uncharted at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
Fun fact: did you guys know that Mt. Gox was actually a Magic the Gathering exchange originally?
Yes,
that's
because it's Magic the Gathering online exchange, isn't it? That's what the Mt.
Gox
means.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I learned that recently. I was like, wow, okay. That
has
it kind of checks out because, well, I mean, a great analog for NFTs is like trading cards, right? And so it stands to reason that trading cards would become something of the first exchange for cryptocurrency.
Yeah. I mean, back to the question, bunch of nerds on the internet, is this a DAO?
It's pretty much the same thing.
Is this a DAO? Like, is this a Ponzi? I mean, trading cards, the original NFT Ponzi. Like, there's
the original NFT DAO or Ponzi, or are they the same thing?
I had a complete set of Star Wars Tazos, and I had quite a lot of Pogs when I was younger. So I was in on that. I was in on that fucking Ponzi, just eating loads of Walker's crisps to get the fucking Pogs or whatever it was. Skips, maybe Skips were Pogs. I can't remember. And so many crisps.
I mean, so many. I've still got more Pokemon cards than I know what to do with. Don't really play them anymore. Just have them at this point.
Burn them live on the show. I mean,
burn NFTs in IRL.
Those are probably more valuable than any NFT right now. So I would hang on to them.
Yes, yeah, they are.
Oh dear me. So There was something else on the sheet.
Yeah, FTT down 60% in 24 hours, down to $2. It's down, let's see, it's down 10% since we've been on this call. Yeah. Good stuff. Oof.
It's a big oof. And the oof size
Oofda.
is large. It's, oh man.
Oofda. I think everybody's giving up on it.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Oofda.
You're gonna need to reduce liabilities.
There is an interesting question, isn't there? Like about, yeah, it's time to look at any servers that you're renting on a yearly basis, I would say. But it's going to be interesting to see, because there are a lot of people now who have moved into the space, who work in this space, ourselves included. It's going to be interesting to see what now happens in terms of survival economics of, because the thing is, right, if you have this kind of thing in a traditional economy, it's the centralized bank's job to bail everybody out, to work out what is going to go on and handle the debt relations in that situation. Usually debt relief is one of the key tenets of that, or, increased money supply or whatever. We're in an environment where we all work with programmable currency. If we end up staring down the barrel of a longer bear, and tragically the Giga Chads episode doesn't turn the market around, what will be the monetary response, or like the fiscal response of crypto to that situation?
I mean, look at Adam 2.0, right? I think it's very easy to argue that is a response to the bear market at this stage, right? Print a crazy amount of tokens over the next year or two, and then let it die off from there. Not let the token die off. Let the printing die off from there.
Right.
Yeah, it's something we've been talking about with Max recently, Max Juno, about whether you can have a meme token that drops to a sustainable level to then sort of become a utility token, or whether like your initial inflation sets the expectation, not only for the token itself, but also would, for example, disincentivize a founding team to continue working on the chain. But then it's hard to say, isn't it? Because, even like from stuff we've seen already from the bull market, that kind of happened where some founding teams were like, made so much money, I'm basically out. Like, because the Huahua's that's not maintained by any of the original people, is it?
I don't think so. I think Lydia took over for it.
Well, Lydia does most of the development, but the other people are still there.
Are they still there? Okay. Yeah. But I guess, it's probably better examples actually than Huahua, which, to be fair, they have actually stayed around and kind of done something with the chain against expectations. So, but yeah, it does feel like it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see how people decide to try and launch products or launch chains, because if the bear is long enough, and it could well be, it's not like everybody's gonna be like, well, I'm just going to go back to, some people will, but like not everybody's going to be like, well, I'm just going to go back to my corporate job or go back to another, that style of job,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The
other good thing here is this bubble, this ecosystem now has its tentacles, right? So you have traditional finance that are getting more involved in crypto, then are also over their skis a little bit. So I was just actually taking a look at Robinhood, because Robinhood, I think, has been one of the bigger ones here in the US that have been trying to kind of build crypto as a part of individuals' portfolio and build some more, I guess exposure might be the right way to say it. So since yesterday, they are down from $12 to $8.26. So it's about 33% stock price drop.
Similar to a lot of the
yeah. So I think their overall, I don't even know what their total, I don't even know what their market cap is. 7.44 billion. I guess that's now. So if that's 25 or 30% off, that means they probably lost in the area of $2 to $3 billion over 24 hours in market cap. Yeah. So that's another, going back to the regulation conversation, I think when crypto markets do stupid things and people understand that there's risk there and blah blah blah. That's one thing, but when it starts getting when it's starting to get intertwined here, I see federal, at least in the U.S., I would see regulation coming in a little bit more, trying to figure out ways, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like I'm not opposed to that, depending on kind of what the area is, but really, it's interesting. When things like this happen, like what comes out of that, what spawns out of that.